For this for this presentation, we just do a classic hello world program. We use the SmartC web UI, the user interface. This is the default user interface. I have spent some days programming SmartC Retro UI that is based on Stellar Duo game, and it's the one that I use most of the time, but it's not ready yet. And if we had time, we will use the SC simulator to test the smart contract. So this is the web page. Always when I want to start a new program, I come to the help, where we have a lot of information about SmartC. The help is very big, and I think all the needs that you need to know are here. We have the examples, and from the most simple example here to the most difficult to do, but all these are the simple ones. This is not so difficult. We have the echo message. It's a program that hit the first message that is sent to this contract and sends back to the sender. I will just copy this program here to use as base for our coding. We can use here the web user interface, but I want to show also the retro user interface. So come back here. Yes, this is like the
Yes.
But this here, we have the code mirror library to write the programs. So it's the same library that you use it in GitHub. So it's much better to program here, to code here, than in the regular user interface. So let's go. When I start code, I have these parts here that I do. First, we have the program and pragma. These are the program name, the compiler directives that I do. Then we have here the global variables that I use in the entire program. And in some programs, we have here some startup code, because when we have the main function on SmartC, after the first message, all the messages will be processed inside the main function. So the code that is just above the main function will be executed only once, only the first time you send money to the contract. We have then the main contract here. That is the main loop. I like to keep the main loop simple and do the things inside the functions. And the last one, we have the functions. In the functions, we do what are the things that we want. For this case, we want to show you the hello world. So in the main function, we have the main loop that will loop through all the incoming messages for every block. And once the block is done, we have no message to be processed in that block. We have here a cleanup routine that we can do. But for this one, we will just reply to sender a hello world message. So in the main function, we will use here the get details function to get the sender with the built-in function getSender and the amount that this sender has sent to the contract with the getAmount fx. The fx is because this variable is fixed. It's not a long type. And the read message. But for this, for the example that we want to show you, we don't need the read message. We just need to know who are the sender. And after that, we will just process this transaction that was received. In this transaction, we will just reply the hello world. So we will use the built-in function send message. Send message. We can inspect all the built-in functions inside the help. We have here the built-in functions. It is a huge page. This page is very, very, very big. For the first part here, we have just the prototypes for all the functions that we have. I divided them in the types. So how to handle the loop, how to receive transactions, how to send transactions, how to get blockchain details, how to get contract details. So you got the idea. For the send message, we have here send amount, I'll get it bigger here, and send message. Send message, we need to send it a buffer with message and the recipient. So let's code this. For send message, we need to send a message that will be, I will call the hello message and the sender. So we need to define here a variable hello message. And we need to set the message. In the first time that we run the program, we will set the hello message. Hello world. So the hello message will be always the same. We don't need to change. So we just set one time and we are good. And for the transaction, we just send the hello message to the transaction, the current TX sender. Okay, let's compile. Let's see if it's compiled, F4.
Successful.
Okay, good. This contract seems to be good. And we can we can test and debug in SC Simulator if we think that it's okay.
So you, I need to that you show it code. I see you set for that you say this hello world variable array for. What is this? This is for. It's for bytes, but not bytes. Hello world cannot.
This is because the messages in the Signum blockchain, they are always sent in pages. One page is 32 bytes, and these 32 bytes are 4 longs because each long is 8 bytes. So when you want to send a message, you have to have this packet with 32 bytes.
So this number represents pages.
It is one page. One page is 4 longs. So that's why we need a buffer that is 4 longs. It's four.
4 longs. So you write 4 longs. It's 1 long is 8 bytes, so 8 characters. So you think that so it can be in three longs. Hello world. Why you write 4, not 3?
Because if I put there 3, the send message function will send 4 the 4 memory locations. If you define your buffer with 3, the size is 3, so there will be buffer overflow when the program reads your.
So messages always use 4 longs.
For this send message, yes.
So it's 4, not more, not less. So
correct.
So it's 4.
Yes, and of course you can have a buffer like 100 longs, but the first 4 characters for the first 4 longs will be sent. If you want to send the next one, you need to advance your pointer and send to the send message the pointer to the location that you want to start the message to send. But this is this is C code and pointers. It's not so easy.
Yeah, I remember with stars, and for me it was not easy.
Yeah, because the hello world most of the time it's the easier program, but for the C and Signum blockchain it's not the easy one. Yeah.
In the hello message example, why did you need to define a variable for this instead of just inserting the message directly into the function? Why just set the message as variable, not directly? I think it's just programming.
Yes, but this is because in the regular programs, when you just insert a constant like a string, it will be addressed to this constant in somewhere in the code. But in Signum blockchain, we cannot send an address an address pointer that inside the code. You just need to send to use the variables that are in memory. So you must bring this message, this constant that you write there that will be wrote in the code to a memory location, and then you send the memory location to the send message function that will get the memory location and send it to the recipient.
So we cannot directly write.
No, we need to get the code, go to the memory, and from the memory send them to somewhere.
Is this just for messages or for all functions?
This depends on the function. We can get the help, and in the help we will explain all these things. Of course, in the send message help that I told that I in the help page of SmartC, if we go there for the send message, I wrote there that the buffer must be 4 longs and all the things that can happen.
For example, in your drop contract example, it is necessary to define recipient and there is address signal. For example, in your drop contract example, it is necessary to define recipient. I don't know how you can remember what you program in a drop contract.
When we start the program in the Signum blockchain, all the memory will be 0. So if we do not define the recipient here, we must first thing that we will have is error in compiling because we don't have the recipient defined. But if you define a variable to be the recipient and do not store any value there, you will just send to the address 0. So you send it to the burn account.
I don't know if he is writing that I'm asking because defining so many variables will make the code longer. But I think it is cool when you can define at start.
Yeah. When you have the defined the variable here defined, you write this in the code. So yeah, the option when you need to set the memory from the beginning of program. So let's say you have 10 pages of memory to be filled, you must fill during the deployment, and then you can use the const keyword, and this will be set during deployment. You will not make the code, we will not need to write this variable into the code section. You just you just write to the memory when you deploy the contract.